Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Extra Mile with Whitewater Freight. I'm William Bochkay, your host. Today, we're going to talk about how mind-numbingly crushing life is. Well, not really, but something like that. So what we're going to talk about today is how difficult things are. You get the life connection, but in all seriousness, have you ever tried something and thought, this is impossible? Like, this can't be done. I can't do this. Maybe it's a new skill, a new job, or even just trying to figure out why your Wi-Fi won't connect. At first, everything feels awkward, slow, and frustrating. But then something shifts. It gets easier, and suddenly you just get it. So the question is why? It's very simple. Everything is hard until it's easy. Everything's difficult until it gets easy. People have different ranges on this. Some people may have a higher start on something when they first start out something, but they hit that ceiling eventually as well. Everyone gets to the place where suddenly something becomes difficult and challenging, and it stays that way until it gets easier. So today we're going to talk about why that matters and why you should push through the hard parts until you reach success. So let's talk about the pattern of struggle before success. Think back to when you first learned to ride a bike. The first few attempts were a disaster, wobbling, falling, scraped knees, frustration, but then one day it just clicks and you don't even know how it does. It's just failure after failure after failure after failure, and it just clicks. And from that moment on, you don't think about balancing anymore. You don't think about pedaling anymore. You don't think about all of the mechanics that go into this thing, that if you had to go back and your memory was wiped out, you would have to start all of this over again, and it would be just as equally frustrating and difficult. But you mastered it. What was once hard becomes easy. What was once hard becomes second nature. So this same pattern applies to almost absolutely everything. At first you struggle, then you figure things out. Finally, it becomes easy. But here's the problem. Most people quit and never reach the part where it gets easier. Because for some reason, in the Western mindset, we have this idea that you're either good at something or you're not good at something. We could do a whole different vlog session on the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And really what we're talking about here is growth mindset. Don't want to get too much into that. We're off track because I will do that, trust me. But here we're going to talk about growth mindset and why you need to keep pushing through because you can reach success. All right, so now let's talk about the science of skill building. First, you're going to have the awkward phase. Your brain is literally rewiring itself. Learning new skills feels unnatural because they're not natural. You don't have the mental pathways yet. You have the resistance phase. This is where most people quit. It feels like no progress is happening, but under the surface, your brain is making connections and working through the problems. And then you have that breakthrough phase. Suddenly, you just get it. Your brain has built the pathways, and what felt impossible now feels almost automatic. So the key to success here, you have to push through the resistance phase to get to the breakthrough. So let's talk about how this applies to life and logistics and everything in between. At Whitewater Freight, we see this pattern every single day, whether it's a new broker learning the ropes, a client struggling with a logistics issue, or a carrier adapting to a market change. New freight brokers, at first, the job is overwhelming. So many details, so many moving parts, but over time, experience kicks in, and what was once stressful becomes second nature. Clients facing logistics challenges, shipping delays, cost fluctuations, unexpected problems, it's frustrating. But once they work with a broker who knows how to navigate these challenges, they see how smooth things can be. Carriers adapting to change. Markets shift. Regulations change. And at first, all of it's a struggle. I mean, it's a nightmare. But the best carriers evolve and find solutions and come out stronger. No matter what industry you're in, the people who succeed are the ones who don't quit in the resistance phase. So let's talk about some tips to push through the resistance phase. Knowing struggle is part of the process makes it easier to push through, especially if you can keep in mind that if I'm struggling, I'm growing. Number 2, reframe frustration as growth. Feeling stuck means you're learning. That's a good thing. Number 3, seek help and mentorship. The best way to shorten the struggle phase, learn from someone who has already been through it. Number 4, remember from past successes. You've struggled before and made it through. This is just another one of those moments. So the next time you're in that frustrating, I want to quit phase, remember everything is hard until it's easy. That's just how growth works. Push through, stay consistent, and soon enough, What once felt impossible will feel effortless. So what's something that felt impossible to you at first and then became second nature over time? Drop your story in the comments. We've all been there and we would love to hear it. So until the next time we meet on the Extra Mile, keep learning and growing.